commander
The
trading.
economy.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about the economy.
Oh, we can talk about that too. I was like, when you and I were chatting specifically, the biggest thing that I'm against is commander to commander trading. But yeah, why don't we like whatever
Well,
you
I
were
mean,
going to get to
that
in
ties
that.
into it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
So share what you were thinking and what we should do. And by the way, let me see what planet we were going to head to here.
Yeah, that's actually a big
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. Yeah. It is six
My
A.
logic is
Six
my
alpha.
logic is you cannot have an actual economy until we can trade until we can affect that economy
Okay.
until I can sell my ship then or buy a used ship or manufacture my own ships or start a freaking used ship lot. Until any of that stuff happens, this is not an economy.
Certainly wouldn't disagree with that. Take that to tell me how you would implement that in game. Like, am I selling you my ship? Am I selling a like be specific?
Okay. I would like ultimately to be able to go out into a ring and not just be targeting paynite or low temp diamonds or
Okay.
void opals or
Okay.
whatever's been paying the most at the moment. I'd like to actually target something for a reason. Like I'd go after Bernadite because I need it to refine so I can manufacture to make the hull for my new whatever.
Okay.
I'd like to be able to set up a work system where I can hire people to bring me that Bernadite to so I can refine it so I can make a hull. I would
Okay.
like to be
Okay.
able to sell that hull to other people. I would like to and the systems are technically already in place. All you have to set up is just another server to act as your market.
Yeah.
And that way you can actually have a self-balancing market. You don't have to sit there and manually tweak it or set up a broken algorithm that says, oh, based on your cargo, based on the amount of money in your wallet, we'll charge you this for, the mine for the ore that you're trying to sell us. What?
Yeah,
No,
so
that's
so
ridiculous.
actually, so let's because there's a few things here that I want to ask about. So let me first ask about, and obviously the big mining changes that everybody's been so pissed off about, right? And yeah, somebody in chat just said so pretty much base building, and I'm going to go there, Night or whoever just said that radius. So give me just a second. I'm going to ask him about that too, and get his thoughts. But so let's talk about material stuff and specifically the volatility of the market that we've gotten now around mining. First of all, what are your thoughts of not the fact that there's been a change that's making us earn less money, but what do you think about the
I don't
system that is implemented now?
I this is the actual demand and then a quick calculation, which is ridiculous.
Well, and so also to
And
be clear, it's also based around all commanders supposedly in a supply and demand way. Like I agree that it's kind of silly that I get like if I've got 500 tons, you're going to offer me one price versus if I've got 50 tons, you're going to offer me a different. I mean, to me, like it should have a value that has like if I go into a store and I'm buying gold or whatever, gold has a set price kind of thing per ounce. I guess you
exactly.
could say that you would get a better price if you're selling more or less, or they would probably get a less price. But for me, I kind of like so far from a conceptual standpoint the way it's supposed to work. My biggest single problem is the fact that they left it the way it was in game for 9 months, got us all used to being able to make, you know, uh, 200 250 million credits an hour, and then all of a sudden when they change that, now effectively they've nerfed it after that long, and it was such a pay cut that it's wound up being, that I think that's the big mistake they've made. But to your point, and
Well,
I think I'm getting you, I would love the idea of a dynamic economy that we are truly, impacting,
yeah.
right?
But realistically, going down the other way of why did you make this choice is asking the larger question of why did Frontier do this and why did Frontier do that, and that's a rabbit hole that we can't go down at the moment. But and it doesn't lead to anywhere productive or fruitful. Um,
Whoops. Well, hold on. By
realistically,
the way, hold
though,
on a second. Apparently, the system that we got to is not like the planet I just scanned is not it. Hold on just a quick sec. Oh, I looked at the
oh,
wrong
that's
one.
because
It's
we went to
A2A.
7A.
A2A. My bad. I was looking at the table in the wrong way. Sorry. Head to A2A. So yeah, continue. Apologies.
No, realistically, it's talking about why Frontier makes, choices that it does is not going to help anyone.
Well, that's
Uh,
great.
yeah.
Smartest thing maybe said on this entire stream.
No, but I mean, the point is that so I'm not going to presume of why they nerfed or changed or whatever. But to say that this is better is, I'm not going to say it is or isn't. When they turn around and say, "Oh, we've made changes to the economy," no, it's not the economy. You've made a more random Skinner box, which is always going to piss off people because you don't have a consistent pay rate now. People love consistency,
Sure.
or they love it. If you can't give consistency, then you have to give a reason. And if your reason is, well, we think it's better, it's not going to go well for you.
I agree there. And so, when we started chatting about this in Discord a while back, and I was like, okay, stop, let's talk about this on stream. The biggest thing
Yeah.
I've always been against and agree with Frontier's stance on is the notion of player to player selling. So, for example, if I could engineer a ship and then I could just sell you that ship, or I could sell you materials, or in some way,
I would
if
love
that,
that.
see, I think that would be horrible. And the reason I think it would be so horrible is you potentially now all of a sudden open up the real potential of farming people, right? Where somebody's going to go
Yes.
just, well, I think that would be horrible for the game. And Frontier's been
Well,
very clear they would never allow that, because I think you get to a situation where games like Eve, and World of Warcraft, where you've got, like Chinese, and this might sound extreme, but it would happen. You've got Chinese gold farming groups that are just, playing the game all day to farm things to sell it for real world dollars. And that's where I
yeah.
get upset. Right. And that's
And
where I
look how
think it would
those
be
games
terrible.
are not failing.
Well, okay, that's a bit of a good point. That's a point. That's a point, right? I just still find that, like, if it feels so, I mean, and basically is pay to win to me, right? If I can just sit down, plump down $20 to you and buy your fully engineered ship when I'm at hour 50, whatever it might be, that feels really bad for the game to me.
Okay, but see, every game is pay to win. Do you know how many people offered me their account when I did the Cobra review? They
Okay,
said, they said, they said, no, you didn't do it right. Here, just have my account. I'll buy another one, and you could use the one I have with the Cobra on it, and it's fine. You can have it. I said,
sure,
no, I don't want to buy your account. I don't want your account for free. I don't want
obviously,
to buy it.
obviously.
You know, this is always going to happen anyway, no matter what. I like the concept that, hey, if you want to come in and drop $200 to get a marginal edge,
Oh,
go
okay.
for it.
Oh, okay. Then we just fundamentally disagree, because I think that would be horrible.
No,
Honestly,
no, no, no.
if they added something like
It's
that,
still
I would be
skill.
done instantly.
Well, no. I don't want them to add it, but I mean, realistically, if well, how
And
you do it obviously is very important, obviously, and I'm not going to get into finer details because I
no,
don't feel like building that kind of infrastructure and network at the moment.
right,
But
right.
the idea of setting up a, do you know how many people would want to be engineers in this game? Think about Mini.
Oh, I'm with
Mini
you,
would
dude.
sit
Oh,
there
I get
all
what you're
day
saying.
long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And so
he's an engineer.
dude, I do a ton of engineering too. And so I get, from a conceptual standpoint, I love the gameplay that potentially opens up and that sort of stuff, right? If there was a way to do that such that, and I don't think there is, such that there's no way that you could turn that into a pay to win, turn that into a real world economy, I wouldn't be against it, right? Because that does open up, like you said, some interesting gameplay, right? Like, hey, dude, like, you should go buy Mini's build, dude. You should go, because Mini builds the best ships. Like, from a gameplay perspective, yeah, that's really cool. And by the way, let's just grab a. They're all biologicals. One on the sunny side. Like, I'm gonna head to biological 4. Looks like a good one.
Sure.
Oh, good. They fixed that bug, by the way. Right when the update launched, the numbers weren't showing in the nav panel. But anyway, so if you could do that and somehow prevent, like, to your point about selling accounts, right? Yeah, like, you absolutely, somebody could give your account. I know of people that have sold accounts which is,
Yeah,
and absolutely in my opinion should be, against the terms of service. Now there's a different argument
it
of
is
Frontier doesn't do
actually.
shit about things, and blah blah blah, right? And I've actually reported somebody for buying an account, right? We know an account, a guy was a high-end PvPer, maybe not high-end, but he was into PvP a lot, had a probably had a bunch of engineered ships, a bunch of unlocked stuff, and he sold his account to somebody, and that guy started combat logging in the account and just being a general ass. Well, I reported that to Frontier, and I guarantee they've done nothing about it, right? Which is,
Yeah.
again, a whole nother conversation, right?
So, I mean, what would you rather do? Build an infrastructure where, there is some amount of, yes, you can technically pay to win, or would you rather have a situation where it's already pay to win, but they ignore it and they don't do anything about it anyway?
Well, but I would argue that, okay, so I would not ever call Frontier pay to win or Elite pay to win. While, yes, there's the incredible rare places where you could sell an account to somebody, that is a way outlier aside from now if there's a base mechanic in game where we can easily sell stuff to each other in game, immediately that is going to become exploited because it is now a base mechanic. So to answer it, if that could be done, and I don't think that it could, but if it could be done in such a way that you could not use real world money, or again, if I can snap my fingers and that's the case, I'm right there with you, buddy. I have no problem with that, right? But anything that all of a sudden becomes a pay to win mechanic, which I'm going to call that I would absolutely be done with the game immediately, right? I am not
This
going to
isn't
play
a
a pay to win
mechanic, though. Okay, hold on a minute. If I, do you know how broken mining was that realistically you could go from Sidewinder to a Corvette or not a Corvette, but an Anaconda in about an hour and a half?
So
Do you remember that?
In fact, not only do I remember it, I sponsored a speedrun competition. So the current
Yeah.
speedrun record from brand new account to elite rank is 7 hours and 4 minutes. And yes,
Okay.
that's broken. I agree.
Yes. Okay. So now we're at the situation where you can basically skip all the content and all the learning to fly and everything like that and all of that nonsense. Do you think that that's winning, getting an Anaconda?
No, because personally, to me, there's no way to win elite, in my opinion, right? So no. And again, I do think though that I don't necessarily think that's good for the game either. Like I have no problem that pay has gotten cut a bit, right? I think the way they've gone about it and the fact that they left it in the game for so long was a problem, right? But yes, I absolutely think 250 million credits an hour is too much too fast, right? I do completely agree with that.
I would argue that there's no difference between being able to go deep core mining and go from a Sidewinder to whatever to an Anaconda within 9 hours or 7 hours is any different than saying, hey, I'm going to go and, trade the credits that I've earned in game to mini or arcs, if you want to do it that way,
Yep.
to mini. So he'll sell me one of his, Corvettes, because
Okay,
realistically,
so hold on. So I agree with that, right? My single problem is when real world money comes in. And as soon as the mechanic that you just suggested, and again, I don't know a way to stop it from happening, but as soon as the mechanic you just suggested happened, it's now very easy for me to say, hey, dude, I'll give you this fully engineered FDL for $5. Right? And that's where all of a sudden I'm completely done. If it could be done in such a way, and I've never heard a suggestion to do it, but if it could be done such that you could do exactly what you just said, yet real money can't be involved, I have no problem with that. Right? Like if you think of East India, for those that aren't familiar, East India is a group that goes out and farms rare materials or engineering unlocked materials. So you can then go just meet up with them. You trade them Imperial slaves or void opals or whatever you agree to, and you trade 100 void opals and they give you 5, I'm making this up a little bit, 5 meta alloys. Right? And so, bam, you got your meta alloys to go unlock your engineer. I fucking love that. It creates new gameplay. It's immersive, right? It extends things. It cuts the grind for some. It lets people do what they're interested in. I think
but
that's
you're already
great.
buying arcs. You already have that pay in game mechanic.
Yeah, but that's
What's
not
the
pay to win.
difference?
That's all cosmetic. I have no problem with
I would
cosmetic
argue,
stuff.
I would argue that buying a mini FDL or a mini Corvette isn't paying to win either. Because realistically, the
Well, no,
first
but
thing they're
again,
going
so
to do
hold
is
on,
they're
so
going
hold
to
on.
take it up into the sky and get blown out of the air because
but-
they still don't know how to fucking fly it.
You're right, but again, if real world dollars can come into play, that's my single objection, right? If there's a way to do it so that real world money can't be involved, I love the idea. Again, I'm not trying to, I mean, just like EIC, right? It would be a fantastic idea. It would bring more gameplay in, right? But a mechanic like that is so easy to exploit to, hey, Minnie, I'll give you $20 for your fully engineered Corvette. Absolutely, that would happen. And the minute that happens, if you ask me, the game's done. Certainly, it's done for me.
Yeah, that's what you've said, but you said that's pay to win, but it's not though. I mean, have you actually played?
Well, of course it is. If I'm paying real world money for something in game, that's pay to win. Period. If it's
I'm saying,
non-cosmetic,
hold on, is someone else talking?
yeah, go ahead, pilot.
Have you actually played Eve?
No, I have not played Eve.
Okay. In that universe, they have something called Plex.
Right.
Now,
right.
Plex is an actual in-game currency, as well as being, something that you buy with real-world money.
Right.
So you could make the argument that you buy Plex. The more Plex you buy in the real world to bring into the game world, the more money you have, because you can sell them for some ridiculous sum, like something like 380 million each.
Sure.
Or 280 million. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not a lot. I mean, it is a lot, but it's not that much a lot. And what happens is you can pay for, if you do it right, you can use credits to buy Plex in game to give yourself free premium pass.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
World of Warcraft has a similar mechanic too with the WoW token. You can go on the auction house for gold, or then you buy one for $20.
Sure. And I'm very
Are
familiar
those
with
systems pay to win.
absolutely, 100%. If I can spend real world dollars and affect the game in any way other than cosmetic, absolutely, it's pay to win. And that's one of the reasons I don't play Eve. Plus, I don't like spreadsheets. But that's one of the reasons I don't play a game like Eve, right? Because
I just posted into chat. Scott Manley spent $30,000 on a video game spaceship, and that was from
yes,
Eve.
he did.
Right.
And he bought the gold edition. There's only 2 in the game. One of the things that's different though in that game to point out that's not like an Elite is that those ships, when they blow up, they're gone. Bye bye. They're out of the game.
That's right. That also changes
So-
mechanics too, right?
So you don't get a rebuy. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, just to be clear for those that haven't heard the story, yeah, like that was for charity, right, Aposto?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
He
in
also
there he'll
wanted it.
explain
Yeah.
the Plex.
No,
He
but
wanted
still.
it. He wanted
Yeah,
it,
right.
because
But spending
but
30
how that
grand was
Plex
right a special.
relates back to real money goes toward, I think, what you're kind of hitting at, X. So, and that's why I think the pilot brought that up, is because Plex is in real money now.
Right,
It's
right.
There's no way to really convert it, but people are
But people
finding ways.
do, right? Yeah, absolutely, right. And people sell Plex to each other, and you can buy Plex from people, and I'm definitely familiar with that, right? And to me, again, very simple, black and white. If I can spend real world dollars and get a non-cosmetic in-game item, that is pay to win, right? If you boil it down, plain and simple. And for me personally, I am never going to play a game that's pay to win, and I think it would kill. In my opinion, I mean, certainly the minute something like that happens, I'm done with Elite, period. I mean, like I would go reset my account if something like that happened and never play the game again, right? Because
I would argue a system where you would give money to basically have an overpowered item that would let you quote unquote win the game. Yes, that is pay to win. I don't believe in this particular instance with this particular game, it is a pay to win scenario.
So the
reason I say that is because the joke in Eve's universe is the only way to win is to quit the game.
No, I get what you're saying. Okay, so let me address that because I get what you're saying, right? So I would make the counter argument that if in that scenario, anything I were to buy from another commander, I could only use in solo. It didn't affect BGS, background sim. It didn't affect power play. It affected nothing but my own personal game. We could debate that. I would have less of a problem with that, right? But the notion again that I could go buy, a fully engineered Corvette from Mini that I can then take into open and take into combat, right? Or buy a fully engineered cutter that I'm using for trade, and that can help my player minor faction and things like that. That's where it absolutely, in my opinion, is pay to win, right? Because you're right, there is no quote unquote winning, right? But that is the winning of Elite, is building those ships and building what you have, right? And amassing that sort of stuff. And the minute that I can just buy that, a massive, again, it's my opinion clearly, a massive component of the game just got turned into who's got the biggest wallet, right? I don't want to show up to a PvP fight and know that some jackass just spent $20 or $5 or $1, to buy somebody else's ship that he didn't go through the same stuff that I went through.
But again, we can do that now.
No.
But hold on, just real quick.
Well, wait, hold on. In what? No, hold on. What do you mean? In what way can we do that now?
There's plenty of services out there that'll actually log into your current account and get you whatever the hell you want. Grind
but that completely breaks. But that's completely against the terms of service. So we're talking about something that would be sanctioned.
We discussed this. They're not going to do anything about it.
Okay, but that's different. Again, we're talking about something that Frontier would sanction.
That's what I'm saying. Do you want a system that you can actually work on, we can all refine and agree with and create that is equal and just?
Well, no, I don't want either.
Or do you want that same system where they're not going to punish?
No, but you're arguing that it's because people are getting away with something illegal, it should be made legal. No, the right answer is Frontier should do something about that. And it's such an incredibly minor problem. Right, that's not. We're talking about something that's unbelievably rare versus something that would drastically change everybody and the way everybody plays the game. I mean, look, we could argue the same thing about combat logging, right? So, okay, because people combat log and Frontier does nothing about it, should combat logging just be legal? Well, no, of course not. Right? So just because a few are doing it illegally and getting away with it doesn't mean everybody should be able to do it.
Well, hold on. Combat logging is legal.
Well, I'm talking about, let's be specific and talk about task killing combat logging, not menu logging. Right?
Okay.
So let's do, if we want to be pedantic, right? Yeah, specifically, I'll talk about that, right?
I mean, realistically, the thing is, though, is that you've made the argument that it's such a huge deal in my scenario, but in your scenario where currently people can buy an account with the Corvette or whatever unlocked, or they can give their account to someone who will unlock it for money. You turn around and say, yeah, but that's such a minuscule problem, it shouldn't matter.
No. I didn't say it shouldn't matter. I said it's a minuscule problem so it doesn't have the impact it would have if the entire game and everyone in the game was doing that in a sanctioned way. And I agree that it's bullshit that Frontier doesn't enforce that rule better. Completely agree with that. Right? But
so
again,
let's regulate it and open it up to everybody.
Well, okay, so how do you regulate it such that real world money can't be involved? If you come up with that and can answer that,
build a real
great.
Economy.
But still, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to sit down and go, hey, I can send this guy $20 and he's going to give me, his Anaconda or his vet, right? There's got to be a way that doesn't happen, in my opinion.
Okay, hold on a minute. Just, I'm not going to argue that the initial growing pains of moving to a system like that wouldn't be traumatic and generally problem-filled. Fine. But picture it maybe a year down the road. Let's say somebody looks at Elite Dangerous, or looks at one of my videos, or looks at one of your videos and says, he goes, wow, that Corvette looks freaking amazing. I want to go get it. Log in and they realize it's going to take X amount of time to go get it. They go, screw that. I can go up to that guy and give him in-game credits or arcs or whatever to actually get that ship right now today. I mean, obviously they would have to redo the grind for the rank, but we're not going to touch that.
Yeah, and rig Corvette out of it. Use an FTL as an example, right? So we're
sure,
right?
Yeah, an FTL, fine.
Yeah.
So they go and spend $20. They get the arcs. They turn the arcs into credits off of, I'm going to use Eve's business model just for simplicity. They buy the arcs. They change the arcs into credits by selling it in the market. People buy it. They're obscenely rich. They go up to Mini and they buy one of his engineered FDLs. They go take it up, and immediately are fucking taken down because they just simply cannot logically fly the thing because they don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't think that's cheating. I think that's more along the lines of you deserved everything you got there.
But again, I'm still going to go back to that. Absolutely 100% is pay to win, right? I just spent $20 to get a non-cosmetic in-game item.
How did he win?
You got the item. That's what winning is in Elite, right? You earn something that you just paid money for that affects the game, right? The general term is,
sir,
if you've got, well, we'll just have to agree to disagree. I mean, again, if that happened, I would be completely done immediately. I'll say it right now. And if that ever happened, I absolutely on stream would delete all my accounts. I'd clear everything and I'd never make another video again. Right. I mean, I'm telling you right now, that's how strong I feel about it.
I love
right?
it. That's awesome.
Right.
Can I want to add something real quick?
Yeah,
I want to
please,
add something real quick.
Sure.
Because time is money. So if you have somebody that goes in and unlocks the Corvette for you, and then that's your account. Again, it's breaking the rules because somebody else is logging into your account, right? Or the exchange of money. time and money are kind of relevant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're the same. I would say that the pay to win problem is um, if you've got people that can just instantly get something in the game without having worked toward it, and somebody else had to work toward it. Hey, my sense of fairness has been pushed here, dude. It's not fair.
So I
Now,
think you're
it's
agreeing.
also
So I think you're agreeing
not.
with Pilot or with me, Aposto.
I'm in the middle on this one.
Okay,
Because,
and I'm not
look,
trying to, and I didn't mean it. Yeah, I'm not trying to play it
right,
like sides or whatever.
because
Pick a side.
Well, no, yeah, no, that's not what I mean, right?
mom and dad are fighting again. um, Look, I think that there's some working class people that love Elite Dangerous and only get 2 hours a night to play it. And for them, it's going to take 2 years to unlock a Corvette, if ever.
And now we get to the problem of grind. And is there too much grind in the game? And the answer is absolutely yes, right? But I strongly, obviously, don't feel the solution to that is a bigger wallet, right?
Okay,
But-
how about this? Look, just hear me out.
Time or wallet, because on Pilot side, what I'm kind of getting out of this and what I would go with is that if you could eliminate the amount of time that it takes to get there, then there's a lot of people would take that route. And is that cheating or pay to win? I mean, you guys are getting caught up on the definition of pay to win, I think.
Well, that's why I call it a simple definition, right? If it's a
Right.
non-cosmetic in-game item, it's pay to win. That's what I'm going to call pay to win. I have no problem with cosmetics, of course, right? And like I said before, if there's some mechanic where you can only use this ship in a solo mode that affects nothing else, nobody else, and it's truly a single player game
But
at that point, I also have no problem with that.
I think what I would add, or I think what I'm getting from Pilot, is why can't they just have a system in the game, a game mechanic that gives us a faster way to get there?
Oh, that's great too. And I keep saying this. If you can tell me a way to do any of these ideas that absolutely prevents real world money from changing hands and cash from changing hands, whether it's buying ARC with real money, if it's between player and player, I'm all for it. Right? Again, from a gameplay perspective, I love it.
Here's what I'm saying to you is that you don't have that now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I'm not going to buy that argument. Absolutely, we do, because we're talking about the difference between something that is breaking the rules and should be getting you banned versus something that would be okay for the 2.5 million players that play the game, and now it's fine for everybody. That's a very
but
different
it's not
argument.
getting anyone banned.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about it should be, and now we're talking should Frontier be enforcing their rules? Yes. I mean, that's a problem, right? But the reality it is not okay to log into somebody else's account and grind for them. It is not okay to sell an account to somebody else, right? As soon as those things are sanctioned, which is effectively what would happen, right? That's not okay, right? There's a reason that's not okay right now.
I'm not disagreeing with you that Frontier should enforce their own rules and that's a better solution, but here's the thing is that they're just not. And they're not going to.
And that's another argument and problem that's a big one, obviously, especially around, again, we'll be specific if we want around task killing combat logging, right? They absolutely should be enforcing that. They've been very clear that is a bannable offense, and they have banned people for it, but it's unbelievably rare, right? Just like, now we're going to things like cheating. Well, a lot of people get away with cheating and we report them over and over again, and it takes weeks, if ever, for them to get banned. Well, should the use of the trainers be okay? Well, of course not. I don't think any of us would argue that, right?
Do you remember pre-Steam when you could go to any torrent site and grab whatever game you wanted, minus the DRM?
Oh, of course.
Like secure.
Of course. Well, you can still kind of do that. With whatever?
Well,
but
yeah. But here's the thing. We always made the argument that the Pirates always got the better game because they didn't have Secure ROM to deal with, and Secure ROM would destroy games legally purchased.
Or de novo, and whatever the ones are. Yeah.
And then Steam came along, and it took them a couple tries to get it right, but ultimately, making the digital platform either through Steam sales or through ease of taking money, or making the games themselves so easy to buy and install and virus-free and drama-free, that system decreased piracy immensely. Yes, there's still piracy. Yes, there's still people going to break the rules because there's always going to be people breaking the rules. There's always going to be people buying accounts.
Yeah, of course.
There's always going to be people cheating.
Of course.
But the system in play that was eventually developed over time through a bunch of people made the whole thing a lot better because how easy it was. People want to do the right thing.
Okay. Agreed.
Okay.
But okay.
People want.
So how
would
do you
rather buy a Steam game for $1 than pirate.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
I completely agree. So how does that
These
analogy
small things actually matter, and I'm working on.
Okay.
I promise. Okay. These small things actually matter. When you have a system that is broken, and this one is. Can you agree on that?
Define system. Be more specific.
People can cheat, and then they're not really enforcing their own rules.
Yes, I would say that's broken. Yes, I don't think it's a massively widespread problem that breaks the game, but yes, it is a problem, and yes, it should be addressed. A problem. Absolutely, yes.
Right, and in the same sense that piracy is a problem, and it needed to be addressed, and they tried, secure ROM, or they tried this, or they tried suing people who were torrenting and all of that nonsense.
The only thing I would jump in quickly and say is I think piracy is a much bigger problem in terms of that versus the rare few, and specifically we're talking about account sharing and that's selling accounts. Like the scale we're talking about here is massively different. Like I
don't have a more appropriate scale for you here.
No, okay, I'm just getting at that. I'm guessing a much higher percentage of people have pirated a game versus what my opinion would be the incredibly tiny percentage of people that have either bought an account in Elite or paid or had somebody grind for them. That's the only point I'm making.
Okay. But realistically, if you make a system where, and yes, this would obviously overhaul a lot of grind. It would overhaul a lot of current systems that nobody particularly likes anyway. But if you do that, if you give those options streamlined and fair and helpful to everybody, like if I sit there and spend my time engineering ships that I was selling to other people in exchange for things, I don't necessarily want that money to come back to me in physical real world currency. Not like that matters anyway. But as in-game credits, absolutely.
And so again, I'm going to
spend money, but hold on, because they currently do this anyway. If people want to spend real in-game money with Frontier, currently they can. The only difference I'm making, the only change I'm making is creating a real-world economy inside this game where credits are exchanged, and that's it.
Okay, so but your
credits that can be spent.
That's way okay. So that's not a fair argument because the things that we can buy now with real world money, again, I've said this multiple times, are cosmetic only. I have zero problem with that. As soon as that if everything we've talked about tonight, right? And I think like I'll let if you've got one more rebuttal, we'll I think we're starting to go in circles, so I think we should kind of wrap this up a bit. But I think that if everything you just discussed could be done in such a way that it absolutely either A, could not be used for real world currency. Like, for example, if I could earn credits in game and use those credits to buy a ship from you, again, no real world money has changed hands. Okay, period. I have no problem with that. I think that's a great idea, right? So if A, there's a technical way to solve for that, or B, it's the penalty for it is so immediately enforced, and people are getting fucking banned left and right. And you know that if you were to change money, which there's no way to do this, but if you were to actually change hands with actual money between commanders, both of you are immediately banned. If you could put one of those two systems in place, I have no problem with any of this, because that's my only issue here is being able to spend dollars to affect the game. Because if I earn credits in the game, and let's say, to use kind of some of what you're saying, let's say I love mining, right? And I go out and I grind the fuck out of mining, and I earn myself 10 billion credits, right? And you would much rather go farm materials or go engineer ships or build ships or whatever it is, and I could give you 1 billion credits to buy your FDL. Sure, truly, that'd be awesome. I have no problem with that gameplay, right? But that immediately makes it so easy, right? And this is game wide for me to go, hey, yeah, like black market starts up and I'll give you, I'll sell you my FDL for $10 or I'll sell you this for whatever it is. That's what immediately breaks it, in my opinion, right? If you could get rid of that somehow, I got no issue with it. It's only the real world dollars that bother me.
I think what you're kind of getting at is when you have those in-game transactions like EA has done with their game. And you get these loot boxes where somebody can buy the weapon instead of have to earn it or unlock it.
That's not this. That's not what this is.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's what it becomes, though. right? Because
Right. I
again,
think that's what X is trying to
that's
say.
exactly
Becomes,
that's
yeah,
exactly what
yeah.
it becomes, right? Because now I can just flip out my wallet, spend $10. I've got 20 hours in the game, and I'll use an FDL or an Anaconda as an example because there's no rank for it. I've got 20 hours in the game. Sure, I'll spend. I mean, look, this is way Star Citizen, right? I spend $10 and I buy that Anaconda. Didn't take me any time to work for it. I didn't spend the dozens, hundreds, and by the way, again, we're being clear. The grind is too much, right? But money isn't the solution to the grind, in my opinion. My EDTutorials is.
No, but I'm saying don't diminish my argument by just saying, well, I'd rather play than buy my way. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you.
But that's my problem with the argument.
Hold on. Let me ask you this: what can I currently buy in this game in Elite? What can I currently buy with the credits that I have?
Okay, so let me clarify what you're asking. So what can you buy with in-game credits that you earned in-game?
Yes.
Yeah, ships, rebuys. I mean, ships and rebuys. I mean, modules, ships, and rebuys.
Okay, once I have all the ships and all the modules and it's and everything I want, what can I buy?
Rebuys. I mean, I've spent almost $3 billion in rebuys with the type of gameplay that I have. And you're right that what you're getting at is, and I definitely would agree that credits are not the currency in this game. It's materials, right? It's engineering materials that are what you once you've got. I mean, because literally, I've got 20 billion in net assets. I'll never go farm credits again. Right? Like the only thing I ever farm now is materials. The only reason I do something to earn something like that is materials. And ultimately, I play the game for fun, right? Not to earn materials or earn credits or, that kind of thing, right? So.
All right, let me do a hypothetical here,
okay.
and then I promise I swear to God
okay.
we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. This is why I wanted to have this argument on stream, so this is great.
Let's do a hypothetical here. Let's not introduce any real world money just yet. Let's say actually we abolish the ARCS system entirely.
Okay.
Okay. So now you can actually buy cosmetic items with in-game credits, which ultimately I would have preferred anyway.
Okay.
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 Now let's institute my economy where people like who are many could sit there and engineer stuff all day and pay people credits, in-game credits, to go bring them materials so that they could sit there and engineer equipment because they have the skills for it to make a ship and sell that ship or sell the individual parts of that ship or sell whatever. Okay.
Okay.
All of this is okay with you currently, right?
Well, it would be okay except for the fact that now somebody, and a massive amount of somebody's, is going to go, I'll give you $10 for those materials. And bam, there's the problem.
No, there's no real money changing hands.
Okay, how do you prevent that? Okay, well, if there's a way to prevent that, and I've said that several times, if there's a way to absolutely prevent real world currency from changing hands, I think this is all great. That's my single problem.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's actually the point I'm getting to it, is that even if we abolish ARCs, abolish all ability for real world money to be spent in this game, they're still going to find a way to do it.
Okay, you're making my argument for me. That's my point, right? So as soon as, okay, hold on. Let me make it simple. And this probably will be the last thing I say on it. If I can give you materials, let's just say there's a system in place where whatever mechanic it is, I can give you 100 core dynamic composites. I can give you an engineered module. I can give you an engineered ship. As soon as that's possible in game, out of game, I can say, hey, pilot, I'll sell you 100 core dynamics for $5. That's
my argument, is that we agree. That is happening right now.
No, okay. No, it's not. And it's not happening in a sanctioned way, in a mass scale, like it would if all of a sudden it was literally part of the game for me to just give you something and sanctioned. Anything that's happening right now out of game with real world money absolutely violates the terms of service and should be banned. Right? You're arguing that would be part of the game, right? And now I wouldn't be banned for that. So now nobody would know. How would anybody know that I did that 100 credits or those 100 materials?
No. Hold on. I turned around and I said point blank. I said, there's no, yes, you have the ability in game to buy materials from other players. Okay. But again, there was no money changing hands.
How do you prevent that?
Exactly. Because you can't prevent it now. You can't prevent it in any system that you build.
Yes, but it's not a problem now because we can't do that. As soon as it becomes
as far
possible.
As you know.
Okay, we're going in circles now, so let's stop.
Well, you know what I would like to say, though, is it would be cool if there was some sort of in-game currency or market.
Oh,
Like,
I agree.
I
Again,
wouldn't mind being able to go and gather materials and then put them in the marketplace and sell them, and have like the bank system, or the what do you call it in World of Warcraft?
Auction house.
The auction house. Like that's kind of cool. I don't think I would mind, but even that opens up the possibility for this in real world money transactions
right,
and people,
right,
cheating.
right.
I don't think we can ever stop cheating. As far as theory crafting, which is really what you guys are doing here.
Right, which is what I hate in the first place. But yeah.
Because theory crafting leads to this kind of hard argument.
Well, it also leads to disappointment because none of this is going to happen, right?
Exactly. But I think it's interesting that Pilot is pointing out that you can kind of do that now, or what the game already has in place. That's sort of the way that you're saying it is. I kind of lose you there, Pilot. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. And if we do want to close out with you maybe clarifying that, I think this would be a good transition to go back into what we're doing for the stream.
I'm going to speak in vague generalities because I don't want to stand on a soapbox for 20 minutes.
Right. Please don't.
In any given situation, if you have a problem, if you want to get from point A to point B, if you imagine a triangle of knowledge, money, and time.
At the same time, yeah.
You only need 2 of those to accomplish anything. I'm telling you right now is that realistically, if the problem is you want to go from Sidewinder to Anaconda, you only need knowledge and time, or time and money, and you don't have to know how to fly the damn thing at all. Or you could use money and knowledge, and well, that's how you get the option that nobody likes. But realistically, those are the 2 of the 3 of those things are the solution to every problem. Literally. And there's no way to avoid it. The only thing you could do is embrace it and build the system to accommodate it.
Okay, see, that's where we fundamentally, the last thing I'm going to say, that's where we disagree, right? If all of a sudden it's sanctioned that part of the standard game is to trade those materials, trade ships, trade modules between each other, and every commander is doing that, not the incredibly small few that are absolutely breaking the rules and absolutely should be punished for that. If now everybody can do that, now everybody all of a sudden very easily is going to go to the real world money. That's where we're differing, right? That's where I have a problem with it. If it could be done in some way, right, such that is not allowed, and I can't, I mean, nobody suggested anything. I've never been able to think of anything. Fundamentally, from a gameplay perspective, a utopian perspective, nobody is using those real world dollars. I'm with you, man. Again, it's great ideas. Why would I be against that, right? If we could trade those things to each other for something in game. For example, like I could sell you my Anaconda for $1 billion credits, right? And that way, you've done something to earn it, right?
We don't have to do it again. We don't have to do it.
Yeah. So it's that
because.
Well, it's my stream. But that's where, but just to clarify, that's where we disagree, right? That's the fundamental problem, right, for me. And I've always been.
I would argue that it can't be done now. It can't be stopped now. Your argument is that it can't be stopped in a hypothetical solution, and yeah.
Right. So actually, you know what? To finish off that, and this will be the last thing I say, it can't be stopped now, and it's an incredibly tiny problem. If everybody was allowed to do it, and now all of a sudden it's a massive thing that can't be stopped, it jumps exponentially in terms of problem. That's, I think, what I'm trying to get
cheaper.
at. Right.
That's how you get Steam sales. That's where I was going with it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad we saved that for this, right? Because this would have been a lot more boring if we'd have tried to have this by text or just by the 2 of us, right? And
you guys did inspire some interesting.
I'll admit I haven't gotten to see chat. I might even go back later and read through it because I was assuming there probably was some interesting chat going on. And I'll admit what I kept thinking was, and I'm trying to think of the way to word this, but I'm going to put up a poll on the channel, right, and kind of try to ask this and in fact, Pilot, before I post it, I'll even run it by you so I can try to position the 2 sides as fairly as possible, right, to give everybody, like I don't want to ask the question in a biased way, if you get my point, right? So I'm going to put up something on the channel that kind of tries to clarify the 2 points and God, in like a couple sentences, if possible, right? And kind of see what other people think, because I didn't get to see the chat at all during this. Right. There's no way I could concentrate on that and our conversation at the same time.
I
So.
totally get it. And realistically, it's all kind of a moot point anyway. I mean,
Well,
no
it
matter
is.
who-
This is never going to
no
happen.
control at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it is. But it's an interesting conversation in terms of the way game development works and the way that games go forward. And if it's not clear how anti pay to win I am, right? That's the case. And one last thing I would say along that is, I think this is maybe different if Elite went free. Right? That's also a different, interesting conversation to have, right? What if Elite, the base game, was just free, right? And then actually Star Citizen model, right? And honestly, that's one of the reasons I don't play Star Citizen. I'm not going to spend $1,000 on ships, right? I'm not going to buy a $30,000 ship, like Scott.
Well, actually, the reason the whole thing works at all is there's no rebuys. You can't have rebuys anymore.
And that's also an and you know what? That's why I also at one point had said, if you could use that in a completely solo way, like one of the ideas, one of the things I'm sure a lot of people have thought is, why isn't there a completely solo? I mean, arena is a bad word because that's what CQC is, but a completely solo testing mode where I can go jump into any ship, I can put any engineering module on it, use it for a few minutes, and see what I think of it before I go build that in game.
That's called a beta server, what we asked for.
Well, but I mean, like in terms of, and you're right, and we do. And
no. Think about this. Go back to like the original Wing Commanders, where you had the training facilities, and you could fly those ships beforehand. And in fact, you had to qualify before you could actually fly it in the game itself.
Right.
That would be a cool way to shop for engineered stuff too.
Well, because you would get an idea of, do I want an efficient plasma accelerator or a rapid fire one before you ever actually went and ground for it?
Yeah.
Now, we know the answer to the reason we don't have something like that is it would lessen the grind and lessen gameplay, and Frontier's not going to do that, right? I mean, I get it from a small perspective, but boy, that would be awesome, right?
I'll throw you a curveball that we can't answer before the stream's over.
Sure.
I would be absolutely 100% behind getting rid of ranks and moving over to a revocable license system.
Couldn't agree more.
Sure, yeah. Having to qualify for the ship before you buy it, having to qualify for the
you
weapon.
Need to qualify and get different class of license.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Jaffo,
CDL license for a big truck or something.
Yep, and I was going to say, Jaffo and I have, we've said it a long time, haven't you, Jaffo? Right?
Since day one, since the day I met you.
Notice I said arguably, right? Why am I unlocking that by doing, passenger rescue missions? Or why am I doing that by running data between systems? That's ridiculous.
Because I watched some video by a guy named Exegius.
That's exactly right.
No
you ruined the game, X.
No shit, right? But you get my point, right? That should be something you earn, right? This isn't real. I tell you what, if this isn't kind of my style, I probably wouldn't do a video on this. But at the same time, if you did a video on this, and if you did it as some sort of collab video, right? I was thinking that the whole time too. Like, okay, a video presenting both sides of this argument, kind of like we just did on stream, but shortening it to 5 or 8 minutes, I think would be really cool. It's probably not something I would do for my channel, but it would certainly be something I would be interested in doing. Right, that's why I say I want to put up a poll about it just to see what folks, like kind of what we get from the poll, right? Because I didn't see the chat. Maybe everybody disagrees with me, and I'm the only guy that would be resetting my account and leaving the game, or
No. The day it becomes pay to win, and you, in my definition of pay to win, is the same.
Yeah.
I didn't get the whole way for a while. But your definition
just dinged me and said, God, I think it was an hour ago. I was like, hey, we usually go 2 hours, right? And here we got into this for a while, but that was. I'm glad that we saved this. I just wish we'd have started this right off the top, right? Because I might even, what I might even consider doing is editing this out as a separate video, right? Pilot and Exegius, scream at each other about market, right? Something like that.